Hello, everyone. My name is Andres Hobbs, and today I'll be presenting on 2021 North American wildfires. So, I decided on this topic because while I was working at a local summer camp this past year, some higher up employees told us that there was a lot of smoke passing through the area, and if we were feeling winded or out of breath, we should take a break. This went on for about 2 to 3 days, and truth be told, I had to sit down and rest a couple of times myself. Even though I saw these smoke warnings on the news, I never really expected them to come so close to home. So right here, we have an air quality index map around the time that occurred. So you can see Bemidji, it's very unhealthy, and Duluth, it's still moderate. But for me, you never really do see like even the yellow dots, which are moderate. It's our air quality is mostly good. So it's crazy to think that the wildfires from California had this much impact from so far away. So my next slide shows two pictures. And so the topic I'll be covering in this slide is on the article, what is the health impact of wildfire smoke? So the air quality in our world is rapidly changing in a negative manner. Because there are so many wildfires burning worldwide, the pollution they give off is increasing, contributing to more toxic substances in the air we breathe. And smoke is made up of tiny, mostly carbon-based particles, says Pinkerton, director of UC Center for Health and the Environment. And what's so important is the size of these particles is critical. Those that are 2.5 micrometers or smaller in size, known as PN 2.5, can enter deep into the airways and alvea of the lungs. And that can lead to smoke exposure that can include irritation of the eyes and throat, coughing, sneezing, and chest tightening, and wheezing, which can be even worse for someone who has asthma, like my dad. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I found this so important because, we always think about what the health benefits can just be for a normal person, but like when someone else has those, like someone else's asthma or different disease like that, it can be 10 times worse and life threatening. And while it's hard to track the long term effects of smoke exposure, these small particles, one scientist looked at the effect of a fire and consequently the smoke on a group of pregnant macaws. And Pinkerton followed the macaws' miscarriages went up from 86% to 93% after exposure to the smoke from the fire. This is a dramatic increase in miscarriages that point specifically to exposure to the fire. And something else that I found interesting was that adults and children who work or play outside have the greatest risk of exposure. Children are especially sensitive to wildfire smoke as they breathe in and out a lot more from their active play. And why I found it interesting is we go back to we work at camp because kids are always outside working, playing, and this is a sports-based camp. So it really is harder for them to avoid that. And so below, we have two pictures in California, and one is showing agriculture in an agricultural setting, which people have to work in every day. I just thought that was interesting because people really can't avoid this. And then there's people in a car, which is an enclosed space, and they really can't escape this. They have to drive to work each and every day, which I really find to be scary because like they can't escape it at all. Because you have to work, you can't just not have a job, But on to our next slide now. Let's see. Hi guys, so this chart shows the largest wildfires in California in the past 78 years. And I think it's interesting to me how in the past 2 years, there have been wildfires that deliver more destruction than in the past 76 years prior. And one of them notably is the Dixie Fire, which I'll be talking about in a little bit. So the Dixie Fire was one of the second largest fire in California history. And these two images below show all the resources that had to be used. So I think what I found interesting that it was even seen on satellites, and at the height of the operation, 6,579 people worked to contain the fire. And the headquarters of the operation looked like a small town, demonstrating the economic toll and the resources that had to be used from the state of California and government. And you can see here in one of our pictures that and it really does look like a town. Like that is a lot of resources to have to contain a fire. I mean, it really does blow my mind. And also right here, all in all, they had to use 1,174 miles of hose, and the bulldozers cost were more than $7,000 per day. So in 100 days, that would be around $1 million in expenses for the state. The Dixie's fire almost often felt like a hopeless effort to those working on containing the damage. And today, the thing that I find most interesting is that only 33% of it is contained. So last but not least, I found this chart interesting from PBS NewsHour, and it shows that the causes of wildfire are 95% related to humans. For example, including electrical failures, campfire, debris burning, smoking, and arson. And only 5% are natural causes, such as lightning. I just found that very informative and interesting to think about the way all these fires starts aren't from nature more than not, you know? Because 95% of them, they're from humans, they're not like from nature. I know, but I just think that was just very interesting to think about. Thank you for watching my presentation, everyone. And here's my beautiful works cited page. Have a great day.